So let's think about email here a little bit. So, way back when we first started using email, it really was a transmission mechanism. We're just sending this message back and forth. But as we all know, email has evolved into so much more than that. Many individuals, many of us in this room, look at it as our primary storage environment for messages. And as we all know, email systems, native email systems, don't have the controls of true record-keeping systems. However, we rely on them to maintain potentially very important and valuable content. They've also turned into the de facto collaboration tool, right? Spreading that spreadsheet back and forth in the PowerPoint presentation until everybody has like 50 different copies of it, all slightly variants, but again, used as a collaboration tool. Finally, email is embedded in just about every one of our business processes, right? So, we actually find organizations like call centers that use email as part of the business process. That's why when we work with organizations, we have to find out how is email being used, because if we change something, if we go to a certain approach or a strategy, are we going to break something? We do something that we think is really beneficial here, but do we break a business process, a critical business process, by doing something different with the email management system? 2.5 hours, this is a hard statistic because we say managing email. What does that mean? That we're dragging and dropping to folders or we're tagging or something. But probably most of us are spending a whole lot more than 2.5 hours a day in our email system, responding, forwarding, filing, doing whatever it is. So I think many of us would find that 2.5 hours probably low for the amount of time we're actually spending within our email environment. 190 billion emails a day, I can't even wrap my head around that. It's a big number. There's a lot of emails. But what's also interesting is that the increase in mobile technology, the increase in smartphones of 34% in the past year is attributed to the fact that people need access to their email 24/7. They need it. They put it on their bedside when they go to bed at night. So again, we're seeing that email just hasn't lessened in importance, only grows. So as we look at email, is it a blessing or a curse? Again, it facilitates a lot of business processes. It helps us get our jobs done. But let's think about email, the other side of the coin. So, it is probably the single most type of content that is requested and produced related to discovery. And as we all know, email is a very informal mode of communication. We're just working with an organization today that wanted us to use some e-discovery tools to help classify email. So a lot of it was pretty understandable and it got classified into the correct buckets. But we kept coming against the situation where some of the reviewers would come to us and say, well, we have this email, we don't know which one of the 5 buckets it goes into. So I did an experiment. I took the same email and I asked 5 different reviewers, and they all gave me a different bucket that it belonged to. So again, even that concept of classifying this stuff is really a challenge. Email is going to increasingly be the target of spam, cyber attacks, and breaches. The mobile devices that we carry around, if we think that they're totally secure, we're probably unrealistic in that concept. So again, it's really the focus of some of the bad stuff going on. Storage costs, a lot of you have gone to the cloud, so you're like, what do we care about that? We don't have those costs. It's incremental. We don't have the total cost of ownership anymore. Yeah, but it's the volume that's the issue. If it exists, you got to search it, you got to find it. So we're not off the hook just by saying our storage costs have gone down. And it is deceptively time consuming. How many times have you sat down at your desk saying, I'll meet you for lunch in a couple of minutes. I'm just going to take a quick peek at email. And all of a sudden, it's 2:30 in the afternoon.